Hello and good evening. My name is Karen James. KDI raises alarm over voters apart logistics and security ahead of Anambra governorship poll. As Anambra State prepares for security off-cycle governorship election, the Cape Path Development Initiative (KDI) has raised concern over growing voters apart logistics challenges and security threats that may affect the credibility of the poll. Speaking at the pre-election press briefing in Oka, KDI, under its Strengthening Electoral Accountability project supported by the FCDO/PACE program, emphasized the need for transparency, vigilance, and coordination among stakeholders. The organization said its findings shows voters throughout Anambra has dropped by more than 58% in the last 8 years, despite an increase in voters registration. It identified insecurity and difficult terrains in rival communities such as Anambra East, Anambra West, and Obaru as among barriers discouraging voters' participation. KDI also expressed worries over the late completion of ad hoc staff training by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), saying it could affect operational efficiency on election day. The group further captured that the endorsement of the incumbent governor by the Joint Transporter Forum, whose members are vital to election logistics, could raise neutrality concern and reduce public confidence, according to the KDI hotspots mapping analysis. Agwata and Hiala were flagged as several risk areas, while Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and Obaru were listed as high risk zone. The organization therefore urged security agencies to maintain neutrality, deploy personnel in a visible but non-intimidating manner, and ensure read response coordination to protect voters, election officers, and material across the states.
Why that happened? Maybe because of the timeline, the compressed timeline. And also brought in technology that adult staff that have been shortlisted can actually go on a platform. I think it's their I forgot that now, that sticks my head, but it's basically some technological platform. I think Telegram is part of it, and there is like INEC School or Portal where they can also learn what some things are there. So I can also do that. But let's move. So this is the timetable for training, but I'm so much interested in the next slide. And the next slide is talking about the training of adult election officials for 2025 Anambra State Offset Governorship election. And it started on the 16th of October and it ended on the 6th of November. And on the 6th of November, we also got to know that that was the last day because some of the observers, domestic observers that we are on feed together, confirmed that they also saw that INEC concluded that day. The distance between here to here, in terms of working days, is just 16 days. In short, 15 working days. So the question is, have there been some other improved or better model that INEC has used before? Yes. We looked at all of the observers' reports after the Ondo elections. And one of the things we saw is that largely every of the observers' organizations actually spoke highly of logistics in the Ondo election, that it actually worked. Of course, there are a few issues, but not as, like logistics failed or bad. So one of the things we saw is that as of the time, 2 weeks to the election, Ondo State.
Okay, welcome back to the news. Don't forget the KDI said that the security should be very cautious of their environment and also take good care of the election materials and election officials who are on ground on that very particular day. And also they also talk about the organization therefore urged security agency to maintain neutrality, deploy personnel in a visible and non-intimidating manner, and ensure read response coordination to protect voters, election officers, and material across the states. Listen to what the KDI chairman said concerning this risk.
TV and local TV tracking how many times a jingle is played. So, and then you also know that without you do that costing with the current market rate and all those stuff. But there are also some campaign spending we cannot see that happen that we can't verify. For instance, when you go to an institution and you drop money with the kind.
Yeah, what do you call it? Is it something that you come out to once in a week? CDS. Yeah, CDS. There's always provision for continuous training. Because the budget, if you train 21,000 people for 1 week, it will take up the entire budget of that election.
You don't see them happening on election day. Go and check everywhere. Even where there are predictions that this election is going to be valid, then you now see a woman who, when you look at get the news around the election, you will say, no, these people just kill themselves. But what happened on election day, when you see the influence of military in that particular, the security agency in that particular state, there is a way it downs the entire tension. So you can actually say what has been happening before, and then it's likely going to happen on election day. But that is why we say, no, there is no place that is free of risk. We just graded them severe, moderate, and that is what we are. I don't know if that answers your question. Okay. You talked about the INEC declaration on the training. 4 weeks to the election in Ondo, what INEC was doing was refresher training. They concluded all their training, they did refresher. But here, we concluded training yesterday.
2 days.
2 days to the election. No time for refresher. No time. So what it means is, and the meaning of this for us going to the field tomorrow is that when you see some ad-hoc staff who will not be able to operate some of this, don't blame them. It's a crash course they have. And it's a systemic thing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So that is exactly the implication of that training, because like in KDI, one of the things we look at around the election is every step and every detail is speaking to something, and every data is speaking to something. So you cannot just take. So when you look at training timetable, for instance, recruitment started October 16. October 16. No, sorry, September ending and then ended October 16. And then you want to now start training, and then again now they have to go on Telegram to be doing some of the online courses. So that is the implication for you. So you may, I think again, when you look at 2021, most of the challenges we have in that election, as our people survey shows, is that beavers, though they can, some of them put it as beavers malfunctioning, but in some instances, some of the adults do not even operate some of these things. They are trying to get directed people who are overwhelmed. We pray something like this will not happen tomorrow. One of the things that will not make it to happen is that if like about 70% of the people that will man the election tomorrow were engaged in 2023. So that will help. But if they are set of new set of people, then many of them will learn on the job tomorrow. The last question, you talked about the accountability of the police deployment. So KDI is one of the organizations deploying a lot of observers tomorrow, because we want to take a sampling method around this to look at. And we have deployed to 2,180 polling units. 2,180 polling units out of 5,000. So we want to see, and then we take that sample. Because over the years, and again, please can we go back to that data of police deployment? Because the concern is in 20. We wanted to know what necessitated the increase, and the police and the data here is just police.
Not the civil.
Military is not there. Civil defense is not there.
No, they are paramilitaries.
So the other ones are not there. This is just police. Punch reported yesterday or today that maybe CP Shogule and now that they have increased the number from 45,000.
It's a combination of.
Yes, hold on.
Only police is 45.
Hold on. I get what you're saying. Please, can you get me the link of the punch? Except punch quoted that wrongly. But he said, according to the code, that it has been increased from 45 to 55. However, even at 45, let's
But today it was clarified that it's 55,000 from the Nigerian police. So this figure is basically the figure of the personnel that the police force are going to deploy. So the question is going. So the question here is just basically simple. We've been talking about militarization of the process. In 2021, that every one of us were not even certain what security situation will be ahead to the election. The Nigerian police deployed 34,000. But now that new data is showing that there is a lot of improvement, we now have 55,000. I think the question is just very clear. And of course, tomorrow we're talking about turnout conversation. We've been having turnout conversation. Hope this is not also going to be what we also discourage in terms of when people see too much. But of course, it's just for us to put that out. At the end of the day, from all of the data, recall, and I think Bukola mentioned it, that we've been tracking the landscape in terms of electoral related security situation or the pre-election landscape in the state. And I remember that our HESRA report, which is the Election Security Risk Assessment, also goes a long way to now put all of the data in one map like this called the boss points. And this is the second after we look at the data all over again as we head into the election. What it means is that at the moment we still have about 2 local governments, that is the local government of severe risk. And if you go into our HESRA, which I think we should have from the publication desk, you will see the reason why this is severe risk. Because of some of the things happening, the insecurity conversation coming from there. We have those ones in high risk, and we have majority, most especially on the north and the central, to be moderate risk, which is still saying that all things being equal, if things go the way it's supposed to go, where potential violence and the conversation around logistics, vote buying is not that pronounced tomorrow, we might see more of peaceful conversation or process in the state, because we have most of the states even hovering around the moderate risk. But if we move, this is our hope. Above all, for all we've said, for us at KDI, we expect a peaceful process tomorrow.
Welcome to Pechilly Investigative Media. Here, we don't just tell stories, we make headlines happen. We bring you reliable news publications that keep you informed and ahead.
As media consultants, we shape messages that connect and inspire. We dig deep, uncovering the truth others overlook. Through media podcasts, we spark conversations that matter. We craft advertisements that get your brand noticed.
Through powerful stories and grand celebrations, we honor culture, we honor excellence.
Pechilly Investigative Media, where truth meets innovation.
Okay, welcome back to the news. Our segment name is Karen James, and this is Pechilly. I'm reporting right from the studio. This is happening live in Oka. Every security should be mindful of what is going to happen on that day. Their eyes, their nose, everything concerning them should be in alert to protect the electoral officers and also the voters and the material across the states.
But what happened on election day, when you see influx of a military in that particular, the security agency in that particular state, there is a way it downs the entire tension. So you can actually say what has been happening before, and then it's likely going to happen on election day. But that is why we say, no, there is no place that is free of risk. We just graded them severe, moderate, and that is what we are. I don't know if that answers your question. Okay. You talked about the INEC preparation on the training. 4 weeks to the election in Ondo, what INEC was doing was refresher training. They concluded all their training, they did refresher. But here, we concluded training yesterday.
2 days.
2 days to the election. No time for refresher. No time. So what it means is, and the meaning of this for us going to the field tomorrow is that when you see some ad hoc staff who will not be able to operate some of these things, don't blame them. It's a crash course they have. And it's a systemic thing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So that is exactly the implication of that training. Because like in KDI, one of the things we look at around the election is every step and every detail is speaking to something, and every data is speaking to something. So you cannot just take. So when you look at training timetable, for instance, recruitment started October 16. October 16. No, sorry, September ending and then ended October 16. And then you want to now start training, and then again now they have to go on Telegram to be doing, some of the online courses. So that is the implication for you. So you may, I think again, when you look at 2021, most of the challenges we have in that election, as our people survey shows, is that beavers. Though they can, some of them put it as beavers malfunctioning, but in some instances, some of the adults staff do not even operate some of these things. They are trying to get directed people who are overwhelmed. We pray something like this will not happen tomorrow. One of the things that will not make it to happen is that if like about 70% of the people that will man the election tomorrow were engaged in 2023. So that will help. But if they are set of new set of people, then many of them will learn on the job tomorrow. The last question, you talked about the accountability of the police deployment. So KDI is one of the organizations deploying a lot of observers tomorrow, because we want to take a sampling method around this to look at. And we have deployed to 2,180 polling units. 2,180 polling units out of 5,000. So we want to see, and then we take that sample. Because over the years, and again, please can we go back to that data of police deployment? Because the concern is in 20, we wanted to know what necessitated the increase. And the police and the data here is just police.
Not the civil.
Military is not there, civil defense is not there.
No, they are paramilitaries.
So the other ones are not there. This is just police. Punch reported yesterday or today that maybe CP Shogule and now that they have increased the number from 45,000.
So the same is a combination of.
Yes, hold on.
Only police is 45.
Hold on. I get what you're saying. Please, can you get me the link of the Punch? Except Punch quoted that wrongly. But he said, according to the code, that it has been increased from 45 to 55. However, even at 45, let's predict the future, you have to look at the back. At the history, and what we have done is to look at the data from the past election and in terms of preparation towards this election. So we have seen both political party preparation, we have seen security agency preparation, we have seen INEC preparation, 3 key stakeholders. So the preparation is towards the citizen that will come out and vote. So we are talking about the political party preparation. They're supposed to deploy like about over 90,000 party agents, and they are able to deploy 65 if you do the math and give everybody across. So which means it's like going to be like 11 political parties that are able to deploy. So which means like about 5 political parties doesn't even have any party agents. So that is another aspect that you have to look at. Then we also talk about INEC preparation. One of the things that is so concerning to us is that the training of the ad hoc staff ended 2 days before the election, which is actually a red flag, and that we are looking at. We will be looking at tomorrow in the election and how that plays out. In terms of the security agency, we are also looking at the deployment, coming in this election. So one of the things we want to see is that if the deployment is going to be even, if the numbers that have been released by the police and civil defense, immigration and everything are totally what we have on ground. And at the same time, what is going to be the effect on the voter turnout tomorrow. So these are some of the things we are going to see and we want to look at tomorrow. So what we have just done is to say, look, today this is the landscape around the election. But one good thing around the security and the election is that, unlike in the past election, as we move close to this election, the issue of electoral violence are decreasing. So which means we are likely going to have peaceful election tomorrow, because from September, October, and then this is November, September, October, the figure of election violence actually went down in the state. The highest we have was around July, and now it's increasing. So we expect a very good outing tomorrow.
Lastly, these might be permutations as we really don't know what will come out of the elections. Are you saying these issues will affect the territory?
Every little thing is so sensitive when it comes to election. The number of invalid votes is very, very sensitive, and no matter the preparation you have been around the election, invalid vote alone, as little as invalid vote is, can actually change the direction of the election. Number 2, as little as competence or incompetence of ad hoc staff can affect the entire election. Security agency conduct can affect the entire election. So you cannot actually say, no, some things are insignificant. No, everything is very, very significant. Don't forget, the figure we released around campaign finance shows that these people are already spending billions. So nobody wants to throw billions away, but it means that you are in the game. So what we are saying is that every little dot, every I must be dotted, every T must be crossed tomorrow for us to have a very good election. That is exactly what it is. My name is Pechilly, Executive Director, Thank you.
This is how I say thank you very much for being part of today's edition. Next, I'll bring to you next news updates. My name is Karen. Good evening.